Okay, I've got 6 o'clock. I'd like to start by welcoming everyone to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, January 26, 2026. And I'd like to start by welcoming Commissioner Turner back. Good to have you.
Glad to be here.
I'd like to start with a roll call.
Copeland. Kirkman.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Kehoe.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Daffer. Nope. Miller.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
6 present.
Thank you. Rodney?
Oh, yeah. I know I wasn't ready. My mic wasn't on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. For the record, Rodney Ashby, Planning and Zoning Director. We had 3 final plats go before City Council this last week on January 20th, and all of those were recommended by you. And the first one is Ridgeview North, number 1. Second one was Swainson's Hawk Arbor, number 1. And the last one is Grand Central. And all of those were approved by City Council. The next is public hearings. We had an annexation and zoning and comprehensive plan text amendment for Prescott Creek. This is near Ustick Road and 11th Avenue North. And for future development of 380 townhouses and 760 multifamily units in 24 plex. And a really large building. So this one was recommended for approval. It was continued, though, by City Council to March 16th at the applicant's request. The next one was a variance, and this is for property just southwest of West Flamingo Avenue and North Middleton Road. And this is to remove the existing home due to significant repairs needed and construct a new home on the lot that was just too large for our code. And that one was approved by City Council. And then the last one is annexation and zoning for Shadow Creek. This is in the northwest of Lake Lowell Avenue and South Midland Boulevard. And this was for 12 buildable lots for single-family detached dwelling units and 4 common lots. And this one was recommended for approval by you, and it was denied by City Council. Well, I shouldn't say that. It was approved with condition that it be reduced from 12 units to 8 dwelling units, and that they match the lot lines, the side yard lot lines, to the ones that are just directly to the west. And so that's how they approved that one. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Yeah. Questions, anybody? Comments, concerns? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
It's been moved by Garner, seconded by Kehoe to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. To get started this evening, item 3-2, annexation and zoning to RS7, potential development agreement and subdivision preliminary plat approval for Hudson Yards subdivision for Bonnie Layton representing Endurance Holdings and Thomas Murray, has asked for a continuance due to some conditions and requirements placed by city engineering, some notes and things they were unaware and unsure of. So they've asked for a continuance based on those things. So,
Did they say how long they need?
yes, to the February 24th meeting.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we move that, or continue item number 2 to February.
So I guess technically we need to open the public hearing on that item? Okay. So,
And Mayor, if you wanted, you could, if you want to flip the order and take care of that now and move forward with it, you could do that, or wait until after 3-1 and then open it at that point and make the appropriate motion.
I figured if we do it this way, then if there's anybody that's
Perfect.
here for that item, they don't need to
out.
stick around
Totally
until.
acceptable. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so we just open the item for that item, and now we can,
That's right, yeah. Yeah, formally take up the item, open it up for, I guess at this point, we have a staff report, but we're pending more information still, right, Rodney?
Yeah, typically we just ask for the continuance and
Yeah.
then we'll do the staff report at that date when it's continued.
We'll take care of the staff report and public comment at that time, so.
okay. So we'll go ahead and open item 3-2. And then Commissioner Kirkman, if you'd like to.
Yeah, to formally accept the item, he doesn't have to read through that and then open it. Okay.
No.
All right, 24th, you said?
Yes, February
All right,
24th.
So I'll restate my motion that we move action item number 3-2 to February 24th, 2026, or continue to February 24th.
Okay, it's been moved by Kirkman, seconded by Copeland to continue this item to February 24th. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. That item will be moved to the February 24th, 2026 meeting. Okay, so we'll open first. I'd like to thank everyone for attending tonight. Your attendance is important to us. Some things have been stated on social media lately that I've been aware of that, I don't know, basically make it look like we don't care what you say. And that's not at all true. We do listen to every single testimony and read every single thing that has come across our desk, usually more than once. We are given the staff report and all these notes last week, and every one of us go through them in the evenings when we're home from work. So it is very important to us, and I want everybody to know that we have read the staff report. We go through and highlight, make notes, and we have to look at it from a lot of different perspectives, not just the people who live close. So understand that we do care. The reason that we're here is to make Nampa better. And I understand that that's why you guys are here too, because you want to see it be positive and good down the road too. So we appreciate you. I hope you can appreciate us too. With that said, if you haven't been to one of these meetings before, the way it works is we'll get the applicant to come forward. They will have 5 minutes to tell us about what they want to do. Then we will turn the time over to staff. They have unlimited time. And then we will open it up to public testimony. We ask that when you come up to the mic, give us your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. Once you've spoken, that's it. So if you think of something after you sat down, maybe ask the person sitting next to you, hey, go ahead and ask this. Because once you've had your 3 minutes, that's all we can allow. Also, the meeting's being recorded, so anything you say in the audience is picked up by the mics. So anybody who's listening online, the background noise from speaking in the audience can make that inaudible sometimes. So we ask that you respect the people at the mic, and then we'll do the same for you. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and open up item 3-1, annexation and zoning to RD at 2102 South Midland Boulevard for Jennifer Reynolds. Is the applicant here?
I have my contractor
Okay.
not allowing.
Yeah, we'll get staff to look into it right now, see if they can help.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, quick question. Is he struggling to get in the front door or struggling to get on online?
Sorry.
Online.
Okay.
Sorry. So. No, he intends to join via Teams because
All
of
right.
just complications within his home and the hour that it is at. So, so that being said, my name is Jennifer Reynolds. My address is 2102 South Midland Boulevard, Nampa, Idaho 83686. And I'm petitioning the committee today for annexation into the city. Presently, my parcel resides within Canyon County. I am surrounded completely by the city. In order to split the property like I intend to build further housing on it, I have to be part of the city. It is already set in the future planning for medium residential, so I'm requesting that I can come in as R6, so medium residential with the ability to split. And the future plan is to build 4 plexes. We'll split into 6 parcels and build a total of allowable 20 units on those. And the first phase will include keeping the present home that is on that property and building on the remaining of the parcels after they're split. And then phase 2 will be removing the present home and building the last complex there. So I don't know what else to say. I've never been to one of these. So
That's fine.
I don't know if there's any other information you need from me or.
Anybody have any questions right now?
One question.
Yeah.
You said you're RS6?
Yes, we're requesting to come in as a R6. Originally, I was planning an R4. They told me the correct way to do it would be an R6 when I was filing with the planning and zoning.
Our agenda says RD. Do you know how it was advertised, Rodney?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, let me look
Sorry,
at that
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
and see which one it is.
I have the filing paperwork here too as R6 for what they.
Or how big of a deal is it if it was advertised as something else?
Preston?
To use a classic legal phrase, it would depend.
It depends.
Public notice is to provide just that to the public of what the intensity of the use could be in that range. As you and the public may be aware, a zoning can have a certain range of uses, right, that are authorized. And so that is a very crucial piece of a public notification, is that what the request is was also notified for the public. So we'll wait for comment on how it was published and noticed.
Yeah, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I also
Totally
want to do it
understand.
right.
Well, throughout the staff report, it's referred to as RD.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the RD zone is what was advertised to the public. So I'm going to look back on the application and just see what they had recommended. I also thought I heard 4 plexes, is that correct?
They would be attached at one wall. They'd be a full unit as of themselves with residing parking underneath it. So they would all sit on their own lot to be individually
Okay.
sold.
Just depending, I think we need to hear the staff report, because depending on exactly how this is laid out, the RD zone might be the only way to accomplish that.
Right.
But let me quickly check on the application and see what was submitted on
Okay.
the application.
And you're good to sit down. We'll call you back up when we're ready for you. And then should we let Damien proceed, or what do you want to?
Mr. Chair, the application also listed RD, so I think there might just be some confusion about what RS6 is versus RD zoning.
Okay.
I think it was applied for that way, it was advertised that way, and it might be the only option for them to accomplish what they're suggesting. So I would suggest we move forward with Damien presenting the
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, looks like you're up, Damien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. One second. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Damien Snodgrass, Associate Planner. All right, so the requested action item that we had was for annexation and zoning to RD, two-family residential, with the associated right-of-way with a development agreement for 2102 South Midland Boulevard. The original concept was for a future subdivision into 6 lots, maintaining that single-family home and doing a townhome-style development. While this is an annexation, it is not coming in for a plat, so there's no actual platting of those lines or division at this time. It is just for the annexation of the land. So some of the property details, currently this is within the county under the MDR, medium density residential designation. To the north, we have RD zoning, two-family residential, where it is entitled for 4-plex units. To the west, we have RS7 single family. To the south, Canyon County parcels that are undeveloped. And to the east, we have the RA and some more of those county subs. The history is that there was a pre-application meeting held on January 2025 discussing the possibilities of development for 4-unit townhouses, and there are utilities available to the property. Currently, the RD two-family residential is one of the permitted zones under the future land use map under medium-density residential. Within the vicinity, there are some commercial districts, single-family residential, and some multifamily units that are entitled. Here are the applicable regulations for annexation and zoning. We'll cover those in the findings. And the applicable regulations for the RD chapter, where 2-unit townhouses and 3 to 4-unit townhouses are permitted. Here were some concept plans that were submitted by the applicant. These are provided, however, these have no bearing. A subdivision plat would have to come before the commission at a later date to discuss and go through the qualifications of code and be analyzed by staff. All right. Highlighted in yellow, there will be a couple things that were some mistypos for me on my end of the staff report, as well as some additional information that we wanted to add in. And this is a property analysis portion of this. This is some of what could be done on the property if it were to come through as a plat. So it's a little bit of a preliminary before a plat actually comes in on what could actually be done with this parcel. So under the MDR designation, that you would need 2.51 to 8.01 dwelling units an acre in gross density. So we'll calculate the total area that is being able to be developed, and we will divide that by the number of units going on that. Looking at the property right now, there's currently 1.66 acres of land. When you subtract the right-of-way that will need to be dedicated, it leaves about 1.53 acres of buildable space. Calculating the density at 8.0 dwelling units an acre, the max amount of units that you could put on this parcel is 12.2 dwellings. So rounded down to meet that would be at 12 dwelling units could go on this land just by the lot size. That doesn't take into consideration things like parking, internal roadways, frontage improvements, and landscape buffers and things of that nature. This is just kind of how we would do an analysis of it to see if a plat would meet code. In the proposed townhouse development that would come at a later date, parking regulations on that would be 2 per dwelling unit, as well as 0.5 per dwelling unit for guest parking, and this would have to be in a separate location. So while in theory 12 dwellings could be platted, it doesn't consider any of those other requirements, so most likely it would have to be less unless it is able to just fit perfectly with all those being in nature. So there's just some facts about that that we wanted to add in a little bit later to provide like a preliminary analysis of that. For correspondence, we received a couple comments. For the general comments, engineering has provided things along the lines of wanting to provide public road access, dedication of right-of-way, frontage improvements, a traffic impact study at a later date, and the utilities. Engineering has requested a development agreement to obtain that right-of-way and have some of the conditions that they will need before this comes through at platting. And some of the other agency comments is from Nampa Fire District, we received just general access and fire water supply comments. They'll have to reevaluate this at platting. Nampa Building Department wants the original structure to have a demo permit pulled and to meet the regular building codes of Title IV building regulations. Code Compliance sent a request to satisfy the weed removal on the property, get the property cleaned up. Nampa Long Range Planning, based on their analysis that this property would be in conformance with the comprehensive plan. We did receive a late agency comment, and that was from Boise CUNA Irrigation District. They provided comment on the necessity for more information to calculate the impact. This is a comment that we would normally take at time of plating, and more of that impact will be able to be evaluated if this application were to come back through as a preliminary plat or a short plat. Here are the staff findings for annexation. So that all private landowners have consented to annexation. We received an affidavit, so staff found this to be met. The property is contiguous to city limits or be enclaved by other properties so annexed. It is contiguous to the north as well as to the west. The Nampa Comprehensive Plan includes the area of annexation. This is within the Nampa area of impact. It is under the medium density residential. I got this wrong in the original staff report, so I'm presenting it to you with that proper medium density residential, but it is under that comprehensive plan. And when applicable for annexation of roadways, all partially, highways lying partially, wholly, to be annexed with a contiguous parcel unless by express agreement with the Highway Maintenance District. This is under that memorandum of understanding between the city and the Nampa Highway Districts. So the applicable regulations for zoning are that the proposed map amendments are or would be in harmony with the city's currently adopted comprehensive plan and comprehensive plan land use map. That the proposed map amendments or would provide for a proposed use or set of uses that would be at least reasonably compatible with existing and adjoining property uses. And that the proposed zoning map amendments is in the interest of the public and reasonably necessary. And so the mixed unit portion that was originally in the staff report that isn't super applicable to this. So I took in the medium density residential out of the comprehensive plan, which talks about single family detached homes, duplexes, and townhomes is something that they're looking for under that comprehensive designation, as well as the code for the RD zoning district. In the findings, the comprehensive plan is compatible as defined as the visual relationship between adjacent nearby buildings and the immediate streetscape. The 2040 comprehensive plan defines this as a residential area. There's current need for housing in the city limits, and there is a projected need for housing within the city limits. The 25-foot landscape buffer is required at Midland along the time of platting. And with that, there are city utilities available to the property. Traffic frontage improvements will be done per city code at time of development. And the townhouse buildings of 3 and 4 units will be under design review by the city at time of development. So in conclusion, staff found this to be in conformance with the criteria stated for zoning. Here are some of the recommended conditions of approval. That any on-site wells proposed on the property shall be abandoned or removed in accordance with local and state regulations. That the property be annexed into the Nampa Municipal Irrigation District. That the applicant owner shall comply with all city codes and policies and standards, including those necessary building permits. That the developer shall construct the frontage improvements along South Midland at time of property development. That the developer shall coordinate with the Nampa Engineering Division regarding any traffic requirements. And the developer shall coordinate with the Nampa Meridian Irrigation District about rerouting that Heron Lateral Canal. The developer shall enter into a development agreement with the city for the project with the conditions added to the development agreement of the dedication of that 20-foot, 5-foot right-of-way, and that phase 2 of the project, which removes the existing home. And the developer must resolve all the open code compliance issues with those weeds, along with any that the commission may recommend. Here are your potential motions. I'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Damien, in the late agency comment was the irrigation district, right? Did that say CUNA?
Boise, yeah.
That is within the Boise CUNA Irrigation District that is there on the southwest corner of Nampa.
Yeah, I just saw in the conditions it had Nampa Meridian Irrigation, I think, listed, right?
Oh.
So I just checking.
The letter says that the Heron Lateral is a Nampa Meridian facility. Is that right? I assume it's right.
Correct.
Okay. Question?
I have a question. So Damien, I was looking at this and I know that she's just here for annexation, but she did include these concepts 1 and 2. And from the sizing of that, neither of these concepts would be approved, correct? There isn't enough land there for 16 units.
That is correct.
Okay,
Even
I
with
just
the-
wanted to make sure that I was hearing that right. Okay.
Mr. Chair, maybe I can just report back on a little bit of research I did while you were talking. So the application was originally for an RS zone. However, when it came into staff, they worked with the applicant and said the RS zone doesn't even allow townhouses up to 4 units. And so it wasn't a possibility. So in conversations with the applicant, they changed that to RD. And then, so I think it was just a little bit of confusion over which zone it was, but RD is the one that was discussed. It was the one that was advertised, and it's the one that, the only possible one that they could go with to do 4-unit townhouses.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
You can tell me if I need to save this for our deliberation, but I'd like to ask either Damien or Daniel, looking at this piece of property, that canal basically bisects it. And if that has to be an easement, how do they even use half of this lot?
It is not uncommon for canals to be rerouted with development out to the exteriors of the property lines.
So they would bury it and run it along the edge?
That is oftentimes what happens when a ground is developed that has a irrigation canal or lateral on it.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move to the public hearing portion or the public testimony portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet?
We do, just one, Jana Fedinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have the one.
Yep, you're good. Nope, you're good.
My name is Jill Hallows. I live at 603 West Crimson Loop in Nampa. Last year, I attended Citizens Academy, and I was able to go watch the planners in action, and they helped us learn about planning. And I have to tell you that I have great respect and admiration for what you do. As I saw this proposal come up, I thought, oh, I think my admiration is waning because this made no sense to me at all. I travel that way all the time to go to, I live off Locust there, off Midland and Locust. This proposal, although I'm all for infill, because I'd rather do that than sprawl, is a little unbalanced with the neighborhood that exists. I would like to see things kept to RS and keep the density down. This property is really close to the Greenhurst Midland intersection. And I can't imagine with the proposed number of homes that were originally requested with like 20 units, that's putting a lot of cars in a small area right next to an intersection. I'm really concerned about the safety of that. It's also going to impact the other neighbors, like Sands Point people try to get out into the traffic, and if there's that much traffic going, they'll never get out of their development. So I'm really worried about that traffic. I was really happy to come tonight and learn that it's kind of been talked about to go lower density, not lower, but what do you call it? Middle of the road density. Thank you for that, because I could maybe see duplexes there, but fourplexes, I can't see that. So please keep a lid on how big this gets in that bad spot. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Is there anybody else that didn't sign up that would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this proposal? Okay. Come back up and maybe answer some questions, Ms. Reynolds. Okay, questions?
Okay, Mr. Chairman. I have one question. If the annexation is granted, do you still want it if you know that the plats that you turned in are not going to be approved in the future? There's not going to be 16 units?
We're originally told in my very first meeting with planning and zoning, 20 units. I'm not worried about the unit number. I want to annex in. I've already discussed with Nampa Meridian Irrigation District, rerouting and burying that canal to the edge of the lot. And so whether that ends up being 12 units or 16, whatever that, I'm not worried about the number there.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I guess that's all. Thank you.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed. Discussion.
For annexation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, surrounded by Nampa.
Yeah, so we will see the plat come before us at a later date. So we make decisions on that at that time. But this is
Right.
just simply for annexation, so. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Hey, Rodney or Damian, or the project just to the north of that, that's RD, that's basically a development with nothing built on it yet, do we know what the status is on that and what was slated for that?
So I can talk about what was slated for it. So I'll go back to, it's all fourplexes. It's already went through design review. It's entitled. It's not built out yet, but all the paperwork and groundwork on the city side's done with the exception of pulling building permits.
Yeah.
But
But it was.
roads are in,
Fourplexes?
fourplexes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it seems less dense than that one, doesn't it? If you just look at how many
Yeah.
units they fit on that lot.
Much less.
They're compliant with the comprehensive plan, that's why we have that plan, so.
Yep.
It felt too dense at 16, but if we were only allowing 12, I mean, that's what code would allow is 12, right? So.
Yeah, and once they fit in there with their, like I said, the easements and with the
Road.
open space that's going to be required, all that stuff, we'll chew up some of it, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, this is for annexation.
Right.
Sure.
Plat will come.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make a motion if there's no other discussion. I move to recommend approval of the project as stated on the screen with those recommended conditions and proposed findings.
It's been moved by Kirkman, seconded by Kehoe to approve this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Move to item 3-3. Annexation and zoning to RS4 and RS6 and BC zoning districts at 0 Franklin Boulevard with corresponding road and canal right-of-way potential development agreement and subdivision preliminary plat approval for Highline Estates subdivision for anyway, is the applicant here? Didn't want to butcher it, so.
All good. Thank you, Chairman Miller. Can I lift this at all? All right. Thank you, Commission. My name is Connor Lindstrom. I'm with KM Engineering, 5725 North Discovery Way in Boise. Here representing the property owner on Highline Estates subdivision. So this is an annexation, zoning, and a preliminary plat that we've submitted to the city. We have included a traffic impact study with our application that has been accepted by the city. Here you can see a vicinity map on your screen of the property in question. It's just over 93 acres. We're just north of Ridgeview High School, Warhawk Elementary on Linden. Franklin Road is on the east and Madison Road on the west. There's also as you can see, a large ditch that runs through the middle of the property. That's both the 15 Mile Creek and the Highline feeder canal, hence the name Highline Estates. So that circumnavigates the property and kind of cuts it in half, but it is technically all one large parcel. That's the Pioneer Irrigation District that owns and maintains that. So here, you can see this property outlined in yellow there is within the Highway 2026 specific area plan the city has adopted. They're looking for residential mixed use, so mix of single family, they're looking for live, work, commercial. There's a wide range of different uses that can go within this area. We are proposing 3 different zones, a mix of single family, housing districts as well as a commercial district. So on this next slide, well, here I'll go forward and then come back. But we have the RS6 up into the north, and that area is more of our larger lots. These are going to be average around 6,800 square foot lots, ranging from about 62 to 65 feet wide. We're looking at 3.55 dwelling units per acre in that brown area. Now as you move to the south across 15 Mile Creek and then to the southeast there, actually on the north side of 15 Mile Creek over there, that's the RS4 zoning district that we're proposing. This total acreage is about 66 acres, and you're looking at a dwelling units per acre at about 4.48, so a little higher density as we move to the south. These lots average about 4,800 square feet, roughly 40 to 50 feet wide. And so, and we have in the southwest corner at the Madison and Linden intersection, BC zoning district. So this is a commercial area. It is just over 8 acres for the zoning, but the lot itself, after right-of-way dedication takes place, is I think it's just over 6 acres. 6.5 acres after dedications take place. I'll go back to this slide here. So this is the existing zoning map. Those areas outlined in yellow, and actually that small parcel there is in blue is BC. So this is all annexed property in the city of Nampa. We have a range of RS 8.5 and RML down to RS4. And then directly across the street to the south is the high school that has also been annexed and zoned. Those areas that are not highlighted in color, those are still in the county, as is this parcel. Moving ahead, so this is a rendering of the proposed layout. In total, 355 buildable lots. As I stated before, we have the RS4, RS6, and the BC. Within the RS4, there's 244 lots, and the RS6, 111. Now, we have multiple access points proposed with this project. We have a few over on Madison, I believe 3 in total on Madison. 1, 2, 3 there. And then we have 1 to the south on Linden, and then 1 to the east on Franklin. There will be some right-of-way dedication that has to take place. And as outlined in the TIS, there are some turn lanes that will need to be provided. And the intersection of Franklin and Linden needs to be upgraded as well. And Daniel in his staff report and his conditions made sure those are conditions and the overall staff report for this development, and we are amendable to all those conditions of approval. Moving forward, as part of this application, we are required to have at least 15% open space, which we are meeting. We're providing a couple different amenities here. So we have a tot lot, pavilion and seating area, on the southwest side of the canal, and then on the east side, we have another pavilion and seating area, as well as some open space. We have various pathways connecting throughout the development. The main pathway will be along the canals, a multi-use pathway that'll go from, the south to the north. Then our hope is to have a bridge across that canal. We will have to work with the irrigation district to achieve that, but that is our hope, so folks can get from, the north side of the development, they can walk across to get to that tot lot and then further down to the commercial area. So it's one cohesive development. We do have a phasing plan proposed with this. Right now, we're showing 6 phases in total, roughly 60 lots on average in each phase. Our first phase would be centrally located, and this will be all dependent on sewer and water service, but as we're showing it now, phase 1 would be more centrally located. That does include the tot lot and pavilion area, so I know that's some feedback that often developments get where they, shove all the amenities to the end. Having that amenity in the first phase, I think, would be beneficial for those early residents to the development. And here's some conceptual building elevations. Obviously, these are conceptual, but these have been taken around the area. The hope is to have a wide range of housing types going from smaller single-story homes on up to 2-story homes. And like I said, this is conceptual, but this gives you an idea as to what the development could look like. There are no builders planned at this time. The goal is to get through, these applications before we can move forward with final plat. So that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, fire away.
I got one. I noticed on the ITD report that they said that there may be some, with the proximity to 2026, that there may be something that's needed to be done up there for traffic after they review the traffic impact study, but it doesn't sound like they've got it yet. Are you aware of there might be something up there that you have to do with ITD?
Yeah, Commissioner Turner. So I did speak with ITD on the phone. I can't remember her name. It's a new gal that's over there, but she said she didn't have any concerns with the project as a whole. They have some new turnover at ITD, and she was delayed in getting the TIS, I guess. So she just said they need further analysis of that report before they can give us clear guidelines as to what they might require. Given the distance from Highway 2026, I would be surprised if there were any, improvements required, but who knows?
Just want to make sure you've seen it too, because it started to have to do something on 2026. It could get really expensive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Chairman. Can we go back to the slide that had the pathways?
Say that again, sir.
I'm asking whoever's got the.
He does.
Oh.
Which slide?
Slide before this one or after this one? Yeah, that's fine. On that upper left-hand rendering.
Yeah.
It says multi-use pathway. How is that going to be constructed over the canal?
I wish I knew the answer to that, sir. At this time, that is a goal of ours to have that pathway cross the canal. We don't know how it'll be constructed, but the property owner would like to work with Pioneer Irrigation District to make that happen. We would hope that maybe that could be something required in the development agreement to have some sort of pedestrian pathway across there. But obviously, it's not our jurisdiction, or the property owner's jurisdiction is Pioneer Irrigation District.
But the irrigation district doesn't prohibit you from building a pathway across there?
Well, it is an easement, so they absolutely would have to sign off on that to achieve that kind of construction.
Could you tile it and then just cover and level it to the ground?
Yeah, and that is an option. I know with this application, there is a floodplain development permit that'll be required. Even though it is a canal feeder, there's also the 15-mile creek, so this area is technically within a floodplain. And so we have to do a flood study to determine that area that can or cannot be developed, and potentially have to add some grading and fill to the site with the conditional letter of map revision. So through that process, there might be some alteration to the ditch itself. And at that time, perhaps there would be construction that could take place for the pathway. But once again, this is more preliminary, more conceptual in nature, and a goal of the property owner in the development.
Here, I have one more question, come to think of that. Because it is in that floodplain, are you going to make sure to bring up those houses that are going to back up to that high enough that you can get away from the flood insurance so the property owners don't have to be stuck with that down the road?
Yeah, Commissioner Turner, so there's a couple of different options that we've explored thus far. Obviously, we're still doing a flood study. We have a consultant working on that, but yeah, you could bring in fill to lift these properties out of the floodplain so that they could avoid having to pay flood insurance. The other option is we have, and I'm sure Daniel can speak to this further, but I believe it's upstream or downstream rather to the north. There is the crossing under Madison, I believe, is not up to standards. And so a lot of this flow, during a flood event cannot navigate through there like it should. And so I think there's some other improvements that could take place to alter the floodplain and bring it back within the canal. So we're still looking through that, and we'll have to provide a flood study and go through a letter of map revision with FEMA to achieve that.
Other questions? Okay, we'll call you back up.
All right.
Appreciate it. Okay, Rodney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rodney Ashby, Planning and Zoning Director. The applicant has shown a lot of the same material that I was going to show, so I'll probably just skip over a lot of it. Please let me know if I need to slow down here. But the original concept, 355 single-family homes, 33 common lots, and 1 commercial lot. You've seen this already. You've seen those. This one, I've asked Daniel to be here to talk about traffic, and then also I've got another slide about ingress and egress. So he's going to speak to that, and I'll jump back on.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, the applicant was correct. We have reviewed the traffic impact study. There are just a couple of mitigations that are triggered by the development, those being an eastbound right turn lane and a two-way left turn lane or left turn lane on the north approach of Linden and Franklin. And then that turn lane, that two-way left turn lane would extend up to their site access heading north on Franklin. So those are the project-triggered improvements. The traffic study does identify other improvements in the area that are background traffic issues, not generated or not triggered by this development, but are there based on previous developments and other just general growth within the area. In addition, talking about the access and layout, they will be required to dedicate right-of-way for all three of their frontages, so Linden, Madison, and Franklin. And for the collector roadways, Madison, they will have to do full widening, so curb, gutter, sidewalk, pavement widening. On Linden and Franklin, they will have to do their sidewalk improvements or side path, that 10-foot side path along there, do borrow ditch improvements, and then any turn lane improvements that we talked about, but would not be required to do full widening, and that's based on city code. The other comment that I had on access and layout, their collector road that they are placing at the north of their project there's a house in line with that, and so with previous applications, we've worked with to shift that to the north at their west or at their east boundary, and so they will need to make that modification to the plat, but it's not significant and doesn't impact any of the lots that they would be proposing. For the floodplain analysis, that is something that they are required to do by code. The other flood studies that we've had come in on the 10-mile and the 15-mile, they have been able to adequately identify the improvements that are needed. He is correct. There are some improvements at the Franklin crossing that another development, Haltom Heritage, we'll be addressing that will take care of issues there with the floodplain. This is an unnumbered A zone, so it has a general area of where the floodplain may be, but that's why they have to do the specific flood study to identify exactly which lots will be affected and address that through the final plating process.
Thank you.
All right, so just a couple of project details. Is currently zoned agriculture in the county zoning map. And in Nampa Comprehensive Plan, it's designated as residential mixed use. You saw that. It's also in the North Nampa 2026 specific area plan. But the what they've proposed is consistent with that plan for residential mixed use, the land uses that they've proposed. So surrounding zoning, you can see the zoning here. To the northeast is Canyon County Ag farmland owned by Silver Star Development LLC. And I'll show you some applications we've received for pre-application meetings, just meaning these are meetings that they can hold with staff to explore development of those properties in the future. And so I'll share that in just a minute. But existing is ag. To the west is Canyon County Ag farmland, large lot, single family, Silver Event Center, and material storage. To the south is RS 8.5, single family residential, Ridgeview High and Warhawk Elementary School. RS 6, single family residential, Ridgeview North, number 1, single family detached residential. And to the east is RML zoning, that's limited multifamily residential. That's for Haltom Heritage, number 1, and those are for townhouses. And then Canyon County Ag farmland, large lot, single family residential as well. The history I probably don't need to cover too closely, but here's, sorry, I've got a screen not letting me see it. So to the east, there's that Cherry Grove single-family PUD subdivision that was approved in 2022. Then we had, okay, well, my screen is frozen. There we go. 2023 Haltom Heritage mixed use and MPC is a pretty large development. And then 2023 also Resting Rock single family homes for annexation were denied. And that the reason that they gave was because there was no commercial, which was inconsistent with what the specific area plan had said along 2026. So because there weren't the commercial that was provided, that was denied. In December of 2024, there was a pre-app for single-family homes on this lot. And 2025, Ridgeview North single-family and townhouse subdivision was approved. And then in November, just a couple of months ago, there was a pre-application meeting for single-family homes on these two lots. So a lot of interest in this area. Just want to give you the context of that. Utilities, you've got those in your staff report, but there's utilities in the area primarily to the, well, you can see there, 27-inch sewer trunk at the intersection of Madison and Linden, a 21-inch sewer main in Linden Road, and 18-inch sewer main in Franklin Boulevard, 12-inch water main in Linden and Franklin, and a 12-inch pressure irrigation main in Linden and Franklin. You've seen this, but just the staff analysis of this, total acres for the subdivision is 93.75 acres. So sometimes there's a little confusion from the general public seeing these advertised for a certain acreage. For the subdivision, it takes out the right-of-way that's dedicated, so there might be a little bit of a different number that some people have seen. But 93.75 for the subdivision, one commercial lot at 6.5 acres, 29 common lots, plus the 4 common driveways, equals 17.20 acres, 355 residential lots at 44.74 acres, and internal public roads at 0.21 acres, the qualified open space totaling 15.13 acres, and that's 16% of the site, and then total residential gross density of 4.14 units per acre. The zoning in this location for RS is a permitted use for single-family dwellings. This is the plat that's in your packet. I'm sure you've seen that. Here are the lot sizes and the minimum widths required. Generally, they are in compliance with this. However, I just want to make a quick note that I saw two lots that were exceeding the 8,000 square feet maximum for the RS4 zone. So they'll need to correct that in order to comply with code. Both of those situations, they were next to open space. So it probably just means a little bit of an adjustment on a property line to add a little additional open space, and they would be fine that way. Lot sizes within the RS6 zone, the proposed lot sizes range from 6,358 to 9,799 square feet, and that is within the range for RS6. The density, as I've said before, 4.14 dwelling units per acre, so that's right in the middle of that medium density residential. Lot width and depth, all lots proposed meet the lot width and depth required by city code. This is the landscape plan, and they've highlighted the areas that are being proposed for the open space, qualified open space requirement. And again, it's at 16% with the additional amenities that they've highlighted. 25-foot landscape buffer is required along Linden and Madison Road for residential portions of this development, and a 20-foot landscape buffer is required for the commercial portions of the development. Parking will be assessed at the time of the final plat, but they'll need to comply with this code, which is two per dwelling unit on a single property. And comments, engineering comments on the plat, combine the street, we've heard that. The property is located within a defined floodplain. I think we've heard that too. They'll have to go through that floodplain analysis, the flood study. Nampa Forester made several comments about tree species that will need to be revised and resubmitted. And then provide a list of minimum of 5 trees to be selected for the lot trees. That's just because we get a lot of trees that just have diseases or don't do very well in our area, and so that's an encouragement to use the appropriate type of trees. Nampa Police Department gave their analysis. They indicated that when this is fully built out, they will need 1.18 additional officers and 0.62 additional support staff. Just a note there, I think this sometimes is confusing because it almost sounds like if the development is approved, then we don't have a funding source to cover this expense. But what we need to keep in mind here is that subdivisions pay impact fees, which can't go to police officers, but it can go to equipment and facilities. And then second of all, we have taxes that are accrued for the development as they occur. So it's inappropriate to say that new development doesn't pay for itself. I know there's some confusion about that sometimes, but taxes currently cover the police services. So property taxes right now go 100%, could go to police services that we provide in the city. So again, just a reminder that as buildings come in, they get on the tax roll and we start collecting taxes to provide these kinds of services to these to these departments. And then it's a city council decision as to how to budget those needs. And that's what they're doing here, is they're just providing some context for when they request additional officers at budget time to say, hey, we've been telling you all along, as growth happens, we need to have additional officers, and that's a city council decision. I hope that's clear. Again, it's just sometimes really confusing. The closest police department is 5.5 miles away, and they indicated in their comments that often the police officers are patrolling and they're going to be closer than that at the time of a call. Nampa long-range planners, they indicated that the project appears in compliance with the Nampa 2040 comprehensive plan and the associated future land use map. And I talked to them about that specific area plan as well, and they said that that's accurate. Valley View School District made comments. If approved, students living in the Highline Estates subdivision would attend Warhawk Elementary School, Summit View Middle School, and Ridgeview High School. And then they expressed concerns that the school district isn't keeping up with the approved growth that's happening. Staff note, several projects the school district listed as being approved by NAMPA were actually considered by the city of Caldwell, and at least one was denied by the city of Nampa. So it's complex. And I know this is tough. You have to balance the needs of the school districts, regardless of what city the students are coming from. But it is complex, and sometimes they're looking at data that may not be exactly accurate. So they listed, again, one of the projects I looked at was it was denied. And so it's not on their list of projects, or it shouldn't be on their list of projects that are coming to that area. Okay, so this was a little bit complex too. Compass, our transportation metropolitan planning organization, they analyze these projects and they give like a score sheet. You saw it in your staff report. And then they rate how good the project is according to certain criteria. And some of those criteria are based on, is there infrastructure in place to serve this property? Well, if you're going out to an agricultural property with no development on it yet, the rating for pedestrian connectivity is zero because there's no development, right? And so I struggle a little bit with these because they're not designed for new development. It's more like existing development. Does it make sense to redevelop this property? However, it's in your packet, and I've provided all of that detail and a kind of a summary here. I'll just go over their fiscal impact analysis. It stated that the city and the school district will break even with costs to service this new development within 7 years. And this is just my comment. The taxes collected from the properties will cover the expense of providing new services and facilities to the residents. And that's, again, that 7-year window. That's what they have indicated. And then parks, they made a comment about it not being a good location because of not access to public schools, but there's a high school and an elementary school across the street. So I don't know. I need to work with them and try to figure this out because it doesn't seem accurate. So I'm committed to talk with them and just get some clarification on why these comments are the way they are. I did express my concerns about these types of comments in the past, and they agreed that other communities have expressed similar concerns and that they need to relook at this. So I'll keep working with them. Highway District number 4 listed several comments. First, city shall assume maintenance of Madison Road between Linden and 2026 prior to commencing construction of these utility extensions. Number 2, the existing Madison Road asphalt is in fair condition. They give the rating for that. The pavement and base sections of the roadway shall be replaced full width following utility work within the roadway. Again, a lot of these comments are just according to our agreement already in place. So because we have an agreement in place, when they cut into the roadway, we're going to require that they make the improvements. I didn't see anything significant that I need to point out in detail, except to say that we have those things in place. And if you have any questions, Daniel is ready to respond. Excuse me. The last one is just a traffic impact study shall be conducted. And again, just for all comments related to traffic, whatever the traffic impact study says they have to do, that's what they have to do. So it'll address the ITD comments, it'll address Highway District 4, and it'll address our comments from the city. Again, there's the Transportation Department. Nampa Fire District outlined their 3.1 miles from the Nampa Fire Station number 3 with an approximate response time of 5 minutes, which is within that range that they'd like to have. And then one additional firefighter position when this is fully built out will be required. Nampa Engineering, I've already talked about the utilities there. Their conditions of approval, those are all in your packet, but address all those concerns that he's brought up. So I'm not going to spend too much time there. I just included all the conditions from all of the different agencies. You can see those here. And I indicated that they need to revise that plat to make the lot size appropriate for the zone. And here's the proposed findings. The property owners have consented to annexation. The property is contiguous with the city limits, and I've indicated where it's contiguous. The Nampa Comprehensive Plan includes the area of annexation. It's in our impact area. It's on our future land use map. When applicable for annexation, we have that agreement in place with the Nampa Highway District number 4. Proposed findings for zoning are that the proposed map amendment would be in harmony with the city's currently adopted comprehensive plan and comprehensive plan land use map. The proposed map amendment would provide for a proposed use or set of uses that would be at least reasonably compatible with existing adjoining property uses. And the proposed zoning map amendment is in the interest of the public and reasonably necessary. Obviously, this is where it gets a little more subjective, and you have to weigh all the facts and decide whether it meets those criteria. I gave a whole bunch of facts related to that to show what is being proposed here. And this is the conclusion. The proposed zoning is in harmony with the comprehensive plan because it establishes an RS and BC zoning that provides single-family housing that will be compatible with the future zoning in the area. And the proposed zoning districts are permitted zones under the comprehensive plan future land use map. And then the BC zone is also a part of the residential mixed use as well, being a total of 7% of the total subdivision size over the required 5% minimum. The future land use map was established after thoroughly analyzing land uses for compatibility, and it helps to create that compatibility by transitioning through land uses. The application provides a set of uses that would reasonably be compatible to adjoining properties because the proposed uses are determined to be compatible according to the definitions in the comprehensive plan. The new uses will be required to comply with the uses listed in 10.3.2, our schedule of uses, and the structures are subject to design review standards. It will provide open space and amenities to the future residents, and it will make frontage improvements that will buffer it from larger road frontages. It is in the public interest and reasonably necessary because it provides development that will provide housing that complies with adopted city codes. It has city services and utilities readily available, and 3 traffic infrastructure improvements will be required as described in the traffic impact study. Then the preliminary plat, I've covered all of this material already, but this is just the facts that I listed, and then based on the above findings, the preliminary plat is compliant with city codes and policies. and a couple of motions for your consideration. Sorry it took me so long.
Thank you, Rodney. Questions?
Chairman.
Yes.
Rodney, since you brought up the police department, I'd like to ask you a question, please. According to their report, there was 144 calls for service to the police department for things like battery, traffic hazards, noise complaints, burglar alarms, barking dogs, property damage accidents, 144. There were 231 calls for service for juvenile problems, juvenile drug offenses, juvenile school time. 231 to 144. Why is such a disparity? Is it because there's so few homes in this area?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have asked the police department about these numbers before, and here's the answer that I've gotten. They divide their areas up into districts, and so when they provide these numbers to us, it's just within that district, here are the numbers, right? And then I asked them, well, are they equal in population? The answer is no. Are they equal in area? No. So it is really hard for me to compare one district to another and say, well, this is more than that one, because the districts are different size and they're different population.
Yeah, well, the school is right next to this particular property we're talking about, but there's no other homes around it.
Yeah.
So that really skews the numbers.
Agreed. Yep. And that is another factor that goes into it. When you're including an area that doesn't have a lot of development, yeah, those numbers are going to show differently than an area that's fully developed out. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you've hit on a point that I've struggled with too.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions?
Rodney, I'm just curious, how long do these subdivisions usually take to start building? I mean, there's so many up there that are just laying in wait, so it seems like, is that a normal thing?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner, yes, that is kind of a normal thing. We've said before that a preliminary plat can take upwards of 7 years or more to develop, especially when they're large like this and they have phases. I would ask the applicant when they come back up for rebuttal about that question, when they think that it would be developed out. I just looked at some numbers today that said in the last 7 years, we have developed, or we have actually pulled permits on less than half of the properties that were approved to be developed. So in the last 7 years, all of those that have been approved for development, only less than half have gotten a permit to actually construct them. So it's a tricky scenario. It takes time. Development takes time, especially on these really large developments.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move to our public testimony portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet?
We do. Our first speaker is Robert Montclair.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the councilmen and women. My name is Robert Montclair. I reside at 19721 Madison Road in Nampa, or Caldwell Impact Area, however you want to look at it. I'm glad you guys brought up the comprehensive plan, because the comprehensive plan is a guiding document used by city leaders and staff that encapsulates the vision of the city, is referred to when making decisions about growth, preservation, and other changes the city may, and I highlight heavily, may face over the next 20 years. So when I looked at the comprehensive plan of 2040, the projected rate for Nampa's population was going to be 120,679 people. I mean, that was updated in 2023 Of course, you guys probably think that it's going to get big. COVID happened. All the Californians, Washingtonians, Organians, everybody wants to come in because this is a great daggone state. It's an awesome state. Reminds me of my home state, Virginia. Lots of mountains and hunting and outdoors, and it was just a really great place to live. So that was in 2023. Then I decided to look at further on because I was like, man, that number don't sound right. So I looked at the 2050, I guess, plan that you all have out that got approved or publicated January 14th of this year. And the projected population for the city was now 123,350 people. So I was like, okay, that's a lot of folks. Kind of nice for taxes and all that good stuff. So then I looked at the census. I went to 3 different sites on the internet to include the city of Nampa. And I asked, what's the current population of Nampa, 2025? Pretty sure y'all probably already know it's 117,000. That's 4.8% lower than what was projected. 5,128 people less. So if you take a 4-person family, that actually only comes out to 1,478 homes needed to be developed to go ahead and fulfill that population. So if Corey Barton and Esmond Holdings LLC, they have all these things that are already pre-approved down south, and then you want to put 344 homes, the impact is great. And I challenge the applicant to go ahead and get on Madison Road, not Madison Avenue, as it states up there. It's a typo. Madison Road at 7:30 in the morning and try to get out on Chinden. I challenge you. You live in Boise, just come on up this way. See how we live. But that is all, and I do appreciate your time, and I do appreciate what you all do. Have a good evening. God bless.
Thank you.
Our second is Bo Bonds.
Good evening, Council. Bo Bonds, 8080 East Drinkard Lane, Nampa, Idaho. Lifelong Nampa resident, 4th generation. So I've been here a long time, seen a lot of change. And I'm north of this project, and there are a lot of projects that have been approved that have not started south of this project. I called Valley View School District this morning to get numbers. Currently, our Ridgeview High School has a capacity of 1,800. They're at 1,702 today. Sage is at 1,200 capacity. They're at 921. Summit View is the other middle school. Their capacity is 1,200. They're at 869. Warhawk capacity is 825. They just opened this year. They're at 425. Birch, which is south, is capacity 625. They're at 616. And East Canyon is 625, and they're at 482. Currently, there are 3,600 homes already approved in this area. They're in different stages of building or planning, and there's also 3,200 apartment townhouse units already approved. So I'm kind of doing the math, and it doesn't look good for Ridgeview High School. I know there's plans for maybe more elementary schools, smaller capacity. Ridgeview High School is 98 short of capacity today. My thoughts, my hopes is that you guys deny this project. I know it'll come, but I'd like to see things get into place a little bit better. I'd like to see all this development that's already been approved filled before we start sprawling to the north. Like Rob said, 2026 Chinden Road is a nightmare. There's a lot of serious accidents out there, people on Franklin and Madison especially, and also 11th and Canada. This is a project that, this section right here, ITD is 2 years behind what their schedule was, and they are hinting they might put us back another year. So this project on 2026 is not on schedule. We can't count on this to be finished in the original timeline set. And when school gets let out at the high school, traffic is really bad. Madison, Linden, Madison, Ustick, Franklin, Linden, Franklin, Ustick, they're jammed up, 7:30 and at 3:30. And I appreciate what you guys do. I know you guys, have a lot of tough decisions to make, but I really ask that you really look at what's in the best interest of the citizens in this area right now. And I'm talking just right now, because I know it's gonna happen eventually, but I think right now we just need to hold off a little bit longer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelley Montclair.
Hello, my name is Shelley Montclair. I live at 19721 Madison Road, Nampa, 83687. And the gentleman kind of stole some of my stuff, but with all due respect, Daniel, this gentleman, and ITD lady do not live on Madison Road, and they do not deal with the traffic. So when you asked about, I forget who asked, about Chinden and Madison, yeah, there was going to be something that needs to be done there. I know you just heard from them, but I would like to tell you a little bit about what I see every day. I am a stay-at-home mom and work from home. And our traffic in the morning, as expected, right? We live next to Ridgeview, is very, very full at the morning time and the let out of school time, as well as Chinden being very full in the morning time and in the evening time when you get off work. That being said, what we see almost every day, definitely at least once a week, are cars that are no longer patient, and they zip around on a 2-lane road around the cars. So let's say we're going south on Madison to get to the school or to get somewhere else because they're no longer patient. They don't want to wait. So they go on the wrong side of the road. We've witnessed almost accidents. Thank God there's not been any accidents at that time, recently at least. There have been tons of accidents. In the last 3 months, now we did try to call the police department, they didn't give it to us, but in the last 3 months, I know I have witnessed and seen the lights of police for at least 5 accidents. Some being at the stop sign at Ridgeview Linden and Madison, most of them being Chinden, Madison, and Chinden, Franklin. The ones that are at Chinden, Madison, I have witnessed some of them, and my daughter's almost experienced one, where the people are turning off of Chinden, turning right onto Madison, and they end up in the ditch because the people behind them do not want to wait for them to turn. My daughter is 15 and a half, and this last week, she came home crying because a gentleman was behind her. She could not see his headlights. I asked all these questions. I've taught her when there's someone behind you, you put on your blinker way ahead of time. So she did. She slowed her car down to turn onto Madison, and the guy was flipping her off and cussing her out to turn on her own street. Like, are you kidding me? So we've witnessed a fatality. I've had 2 very, very near horrible accidents, and we just see a lot of racing down the street. It's just like, why are we going to add more homes and more cars when we can't even deal with what we have now? And by the way, our road does need new pavement. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Stacy Driscoll.
I'm Stacy Driscoll. I'm at 8249 East Drinkard Lane, Nampa, Idaho. Basically, everything everybody said is what I agree with. The infrastructure. I kind of question too, how come we have to have so many neighborhoods that are pushing in such high density, which I feel like has also taken down our values of our property for all of us who have been there before. But these are just my concerns of what everybody else has said too. So that's what I just want to propose with.
Thank you. More sign-ups. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Okay, just go ahead and come up one at a time.
Good evening. My name is Jim Blake. I have 6 points to tell you about. They tried to do this song and dance.
Address.
Yeah, address.
Your address. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim Blake, 19593 Madison Road, just north of this property that they want to do. They wanted to do this song and dance 5, 6 years ago. And the schools and the fire department, the highway district, they all said there's not enough infrastructure. We can't put 400 houses out there. So they squashed it. Nothing has been done since then. Same problem. There is no infrastructure. Nothing has changed except now we have a high school and an elementary school, which makes traffic terrible. On those times that they were talking about, it will take you literally 15 minutes to go a quarter of a mile. That's no lie. Now, if my other points I want to talk to you all about it is where the city limit is. City limit stops at the high school. Yes, they said they were going to annex some, but they don't have annexation on other property. So where are they going to get the water from? Are they going to drill wells and deplete all our water? That's another issue that nobody's even talked about. Plus, it is great agricultural land. We're losing land right and left. Doesn't anybody care where we're going to eat from now on? If this project goes through, the people on Madison all have acreage. We all have 5 to 10 acres. If you bring subdivisions in, you literally will take our property values down. So if this property goes through, please make them have a requirement of 3 to 5 acres on each property. That way our property values won't go down and you'll still get your taxes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, Tom Hartley, 19225 North Franklin. You've got a lot of thinking about this piece of property. What's going to happen to all the wildlife that use that to eat? Where are you getting the water that you're going to supply all these houses with? The water's not there. I don't care what kind of reports you get from your government agencies, but they're not right. And the police department is not what they say it is. Before that subdivision went in across the street from me, during the day, I seen at least 4 county cops come down the street there every day. Now I'm lucky to see a county cop once a week. I see no city cops whatsoever. Now, what are these city cops doing that's supposedly patrolling the area to keep the theft and all the other stuff down? Can you tell me? No. Up the damn fee to start with. $25,000, $50,000 a lot, so that you can pay for the people to do the job. You're not doing it. If you can't do it, then get out. Hit the road and get out of state. That's the way I look at it, and I really don't care whether you like what I got to say or not.
Good evening. Will Spite, 7981 Timberline Drive. I'm just southeast of this property. I've been in front of you folks a few different times. Zero success. I mean, again, I really don't have a lot different to say than's been already said. There's so much that's been approved in this area. I really fear for, our environment, the Pioneer District came and tore all the trees and all the wildlife along the 9 Mile Creek that's right next to me in preparation for all these lots. So that was a unexpected bulldozer and a tremendous loss of wildlife just along that canal because they had to prepare for that subdivision that was just, approved just north of where I live. What Bo said, I think, is exactly my sentiment. Let's let some of the, currently approved construction go through. Let's see how this lays out. The traffic's going to be, it's going to be terrible. I'm going to really have a hard time getting out of my, off of my driveway because I live right off of Franklin Road. Last time I was here, I asked for, a roundabout at Linden and Franklin because it's going to get terrible just with what we have. You add another 400 houses, 300, whatever. It's gonna really impact our lives, and there's a lot out there already. So let's use some prudence and think about how quickly we want all this stuff to go in. Spread it out a little bit. Again, I get it's going to grow. I knew that moving in there, but it's all seems like it's coming right at once. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John Wong. I live at 8225 East Drinkard Lane, Nampa, Idaho. I'm here today, concerns just in, I guess, a way to look forward is a way to look back. And looking back, the last subdivision that went in across the street from where my driveway is off of Franklin was the Cherry Grove subdivision. And within that, and the proposal was made in June of 2022, show that the first phase approved and platted in February of 23. At that time, the estimation was 7 phases over approximately 5 to 6 years. They're in phase 5 currently. And the run, I guess my point is well ahead of schedule. So obviously there are many people eager to purchase houses in our area. It's a nice area. I get that. As they said, the roads are getting very, very busy. They talked about the ITD corridor at that time, and this was back in 2022, that it would be completed in 29. And now hearsay or discussion is it's probably going to be 31, 32. The roads are getting very, very busy at any intersection onto 2026. I've raced NASCAR for over 25 years, and it's a risk and reward thing, as far as driving goes. There's a saying that you win some, you lose some, and you wreck some. And I've done it all. But I won't turn left, and this is a risk reward. In the morning, there's about a 2-hour period of time, and I go to work back towards Caldwell on 26. I won't drive on that road to turn left off of Franklin onto 2026 because it's highly dangerous. So I take the Linder route around and come back out down on Smead. I guess my point is it is terrible. And as these new homes that are being built, and we've got 3,600 homes, I think they said, already approved and or in the plat stage, and 3,200 units, apartments, the same. If half of those get done, I can't imagine adding more traffic to the road systems until that 2026 corridor is completed. Because my belief, anytime I've driven in construction area, it's going to have less movement of vehicles as they're widening that road. Once that's done, it'll be significantly different. We could already use stoplights, but that would probably impede other flows of traffic upstream. So my largest concern is just seeing people get hurt, getting wrecks. We just need to think about that.
Mr. Chair, time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Stice, 18285 North Tree Line, just south of Warhawk High School. I concur with the traffic is very, very bad in the surrounding areas in the morning with buses and parents bringing their children to school, both morning and evening. And then when the children get frustrated, they cut through on our street, which is Tree Line, to get to Warhawk. And 45, 50 miles an hour. They're just young kids, but they're ripping down the street. We have a project being developed right now across from us by CBH. We've endured trucks, all the trades and crafts. I understand what they're doing has to be done, but I think this project that is coming right now, we don't need it right quite yet. We need to work on the outside infrastructure, the streets surrounding. I'd like to find out how many years it's going to take to get streets up to stuff around our neighborhood and through the valley here. We've got a lot of work to do in surface streets. You can go down Franklin and about spill your coffee up on the ceiling and hit you in the lap with some of the bumps there. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done besides putting more houses in. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. I am Jonas Parsons at 10473 Baker Lake Street, and I'm a student at Ridgeview High School. So I experience a lot of these issues everyone's talking about firsthand every day. I drive down Linden to get to school, and occasionally I'm sitting there for quite some time. But, having 355 units across the street from, where I go to school every day, that's probably going to be about 700 car trips that everybody's making every day, coming to and from, which traffic already there is not great. And, having all those elementary school kids there as well, it's kind of a safety hazard. We also run in the afternoons for cross country on those streets, and it's just crazy. Like the possibility of getting hit by a car just makes it quite dangerous. But I am also about wanting to build a better community here, where I don't think that having a sprawling suburb is the way to do that. It kind of isolates everybody with their own box and makes them have to drive miles and miles to get anywhere. So I'm going to do something a little different here and propose an alternative to zoning this as a giant suburb. That would be making it smaller and denser, but also putting more commercial, small business type things. So now what that would do would make it so that instead of people having to drive everywhere to go get their groceries or drive to school, drive to work, they can now walk to the school, which reduces, the amount of time they're spent driving the cars, bumping up traffic, or they walk to a small business to get their groceries. And that in turn makes it so that the people who are living miles away, eventually, Valley View is going to catch up with demand and build more schools. They can go to schools over in that direction, where people in a walkable community nearby Ridgeview High School can walk to that school. So that would actually reduce traffic in the long term if we focused on building a safer, denser community there instead of one that's going to be sprawling and just expand traffic everywhere. I'd also like to talk about the environmental impact of that. If you build something smaller rather than a massive suburb, you're not just tearing up all that land everywhere. You can actually focus on just one specific section. And I'd also like to address the property value concerns that everyone had. If we build it like this, it just kind of maintains the status quo with just having sprawling suburbs. If we make it a denser, more small business-oriented, kind of like a community center, having the school there, small businesses, that actually raises the property values of everybody's houses nearby, because they have all those amenities nearby and that walkability and that safety. It makes that area much more desirable, even though the housing is a little less traditional. So I'd ask the developer to consider this alternate plan instead and just reconsider building this sprawling suburb like we've been doing for the past 80 years here in America, and just try and make our community of Nampa more walkable, more safe, and just a community that we all want to live in for decades to come. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yep, come on.
Good evening. My name's Mark Albright. I live at
18297 North Tree Line Avenue, and that's just south of the high school. Chinden up there, I mean, geez, it's just packed with traffic at the wrong times of day, and I will not turn left to get onto Madison. You're taking your life in your own hands there. There's not even a turn lane there. And that gentleman said earlier that the transportation department didn't seem to think there was any need for change to the roads to this project. And well, you're looking at probably 700 more cars, and they're all going to be coming out onto Madison, and they ain't all going to be going to school. Some of them got to go to work, for crying out loud. I think you need to poo-poo this project till they finish that highway. The other gentleman said they're already behind schedule. They haven't finished their highway project up there yet. So I think this is a project that could easily wait until they can handle traffic up there better than they are right now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ruben Asamendi, 23032, Highway 20-26, Parma, Idaho. I understand all these guys' concerns about traffic, but I am currently a fourth-generation farmer there. I do farm the property. When these guys talk about the traffic, I definitely understand the traffic, but when you're trying to farm over there and you're trying to pull a piece of equipment on 20-26 at 8 o'clock, when these guys are talking, it's not very suitable. John, you guys farm out in Wilder. A lot easier to farm out that way. This property is in the limbo of agriculture and development. We keep seeing it less feasible to farm. You know, our guys go to irrigate. They are spending, an hour a day in traffic to go irrigate one little field, and then an hour to go check that water, an hour to just go do that just in traffic. All our costs just keep adding up, and our feasibility of farming in that area just keep going down. I totally understand. Everybody, we're fourth generation. I'm fourth generation, and into ag, we farm out in, all the way across the valley, and we will keep expanding to farm out where there's less people. That's just kind of our plan to keep going, but it's just not suitable to farm in that area anymore. So, thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, back up.
Thank you, Chairman. Did you have specific questions, or did you?
Specific questions for him?
Looking, I can add some context, hopefully answer a few questions. So I just wanted to reiterate, and one of the gentlemen did talk about the phase project, how one of the, I think it was Cherry Grove, if I'm not mistaken, was approved as a phase project, and that it's actually been built faster than what they even thought. But I will note that this is also a phase project, 6 phases. The general timeline for development, if we get our approval, let's say with City Council would be next in a month or two. Usually it's a good year to 2 years before the first phase of development can get underway. And then following that, the general timeline, if the economy stays as it is, that's usually a year per phase. That's how it usually works, but it definitely can move faster or slower. I think generally you have 2 years from approval of the pre-plat to get your first phase in. Rodney can clarify if that is not correct. I will also note, I understand the traffic concerns. I cannot speak for ITD. We cannot, require them to do what they need to do. They will review the TIS, and they will come back with any improvements that they would want to see in the meantime. But it does sound like they do have future plans to update Highway 2026. And speaking with the property owner, we hope that happens sooner rather than later as well. As for the property itself and the surrounding roadways that are there, it is a requirement that right-of-way is dedicated to improve those roadways, to widen them. We have specific outlines in the traffic impact study that require Franklin and Linden to have that intersection improved with turn lanes, as well as an additional turn lane into the development. So if this application is approved, there will be immediate improvements to the roadways surrounding the property. Next, just wanted to touch on the comp plan again. I know it is a guiding plan. It is not law, but it is the vision of the city based on what has been approved by council men and women before you. And that is the guiding tool that the property owner is looking to develop under. It meets the code and the comp plan as outlined by staff. And we're providing a medium density residential project. One gentleman even wanted higher density perhaps. So we feel that we are right within the bounds of what that specific area plan is visioning for this area. And unfortunately, it'll for these neighbors, it might change their way of life, but that is how the city sees the city growing further to the north towards Chinden. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on the utilities. This will be fully connected to city services as it would be annexed. So sewer, water would all come from the city infrastructure. No new wells or anything like that with this project would be installed. I hope I answered a few of the comments. Is there anything else that you wanted me to address?
Anybody?
I have a question about the river and the canal. Nobody's asked anything about this, but how close do you put the houses to that? Because I saw that they back up on both sides.
Yeah, so great question. There are actually two, so you have the 15 Mile Creek, and then you also have the Highline Feeder Canal. They run next to each other. The creek itself, it's actually within a 130-foot wide easement. And then the feeder canal is within, I believe, 85 feet wide at its longest width. So together, you're looking at over 200-foot width. And then from that, we're also proposing a pathway on the south side along the property line. The north side, the plan is to build right up to the property line. But what's unique about the canal and the creek in this area, oftentimes they'll just be within an easement, and the property owner will actually act to like the center line. In this case, Pioneer Irrigation District, excuse me, they actually own that chunk of property. So we can't build anywhere within that easement at all. We have to stay outside of the property line. So hopefully that answers your question.
That does. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Kehoe, seconded by Morgan to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question for Rodney, if I might. You mentioned the 50% of the approved developments actually haven't even started being developed, something to that effect.
So, Mr. Chair?
Correct?
Maybe let me clarify a little bit. So subdivisions that have been approved in the last 7 years, not that they haven't been developed, but every lot hasn't been built. A subdivision, not every lot of every subdivision has a home on it yet, right? So less than 50% of the homes on all those lots that have been approved, less than 50% of all of the lots that have been approved in the last 7 years have a home built on it.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the development, it's actually, we're talking about the lots there.
Yeah, and just that, the reason I share that is because it just takes time. There's a lot of effort that goes into developing a subdivision, and it just takes longer than we think a lot of times.
Yeah, so here's the more difficult part of my question. Of that number, what you just talked about or explained and clarified, do you know how much of that is in this area?
I don't, no.
Dang it.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I asked Daniel.
Better just come out, Daniel. be ready.
How is 2026 going, or do you have any? I know it's not your roads, but
2026 is a state project, so I am not as familiar with that. I was reviewing their documentation that they have out there publicly available. It shows that the section that we would be talking about there at Madison, their plan for that would be there would not be a signalized intersection. There would be turn lanes added, but it would restrict Madison to right in, right outs. So there would be no left turning movements from 2026 on to Madison, either north or south. They show construction of that section starting in 2029.
am I remembering correctly that Franklin will be signalized?
Yes, the mile sections, so Franklin, Midland, those would be signalized, and the half-mile sections would not.
Are all the half-mile sections going to be right in, right out?
In this area, that's what they are showing, so Madison, Knotts, Prescott, those ones, yeah. And that is very consistent with ITD's process on most state highways that are in urban areas, is that they signalize at the mile sections and do not allow the lefts or restrict the movements in some fashion at the median or at the half-mile section roadways.
Okay, so the Madison and the highway is scheduled for 2029. What's Franklin?
So that's all within that. The section we're looking at would be Middleton to Star Road, and that's where they're showing construction starting in 2029.
Not starting till 2029.
Correct.
Thank you.
Daniel, can you speak about other improvements in that area that are scheduled, planned?
So there are improvements that will happen with other developments to Franklin and Linden. One of Haltom Heritage will extend Linden. So currently Linden at Franklin terminates, and you jog north onto Elm. With the Haltom Heritage development, we have a plan to extend Linden up to Elm, starting there at Franklin, and then going over Prescott and beyond would then line back up with Elm. They have turn lanes and that the school district and Haltom Heritage are working together on to in place there. And so those are under design currently. Some of those require some improvements to the culverts and stuff for the 10-mile and the 9-mile or 5-mile and 10-mile creeks that combine into the 15-mile right there west of Franklin. So there are improvements there. Those are the main improvements that we're looking at that are tagged right now.
Thank you. Other questions? Thoughts?
You know, I think that for me, if this was coming in for a preliminary plat right now, I would probably vote against it just because of what's happening and because of the traffic, because it's bad out there.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, this is a preliminary plat.
Yeah,
So,
it is. It is preliminary.
oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
Guess that answers that question. You want to revise your comment?
Yeah, let's revise.
But actually,
Well, do you want to continue your
Yeah,
thought then?
because I'd
Now
like
that,
to-
now that
I'd
you
like to
know
hear
it's a
the rest.
preliminary. No, I don't. I'm waiting to hear what you have to say.
I want to hear the rest of your thought.
What's the rest of your story?
Well, I mean, for me, it feels too dense. And like they're saying, there's a lot that's been already approved out there. But I think that the 2026 in those intersections are what really get me. Because it's really, really hard to get out onto 2026. And so many people need to, they utilize that because it doesn't make sense to drive all the way back down to the interstate if you live right there, And so for me, a lot more to add out there right now, when there's already so much that's already planned.
I guess I look at, if best case scenario, this starts in year and a half,
In a year and a half, 2 years yet?
2 years, then we're looking at 28, maybe a little later. Road project starts in 29. I'm not saying it'll be done in a year, it's going to take them a while. But so's this development. And I understand, the last gentleman that spoke, the property owner, it's, feasibility to farm. And I think that's what a lot of people need to think about is don't just think about yourself going to work, but if they expect the farmers to farm in the middle of the night, then neighbors are going to complain that this guy's out there all hours of the night making noise and up and down the road. But do they really have any other choice? And is it fair to ask them to work in the middle of the night when everybody else works during the day? So I understand that point of it too. It's tough. Getting a plow, getting a disc, getting spraying equipment, any of that kind of stuff into a piece of property like this is not easy, especially if you're depending on where your equipment's located. So, so much to think about. And then what's it going to take for the rest of the properties around there to develop? I mean, obviously they said one of them's ahead of schedule, so.
The other ones I don't think have started, right?
And then we've got to think about too, development pays. I mean, we can't fix and improve roads without taxes to pay it. And the only way that can happen is through development or to raise the taxes for all the citizens. Nobody wants their taxes raised, so if you don't have development, nothing gets improved. So it's tough. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see all the roads in Nampa rated at A, but that's not reality. And it's not just in your area. I drive all over Nampa and Canyon County for work every single day, and I have yet to drive down a road that's great. It's just not how it is. The roads are horrible, traffic is horrible, and I don't know the right answer. But I think once things start to develop and start to get more contiguous, those tax dollars start to come in, then some improvements can be made. And some of the improvements that are forced by the city on those developers to make at time of development help. And then, like I said, once those tax dollars start coming in, then further improvements can be made. But it's tough. I mean, it fits, right? I mean, you go down our checklist, and they're doing everything that's asked by the city. So, yeah.
And two, I know that you guys would like to have grocery stores and stuff there. They're not coming until you have the rooftops. They just won't. They spend too much money studying this stuff to put a store out there that they don't have the rooftops to support it. So until you have the rooftops, you're not going to get stores any closer. I did see a deal a week or two ago. Fred Meyer's is going to put a new one in Middleton in 2026. So that'll help. And I thought I seen something about a Winco going up on 2026 as well. So that'll help. But you got to have the rooftops, and you also got to have the rooftops to get the taxes. And for, the poor farmer is losing money or getting close to losing money on trying to farm this. And if he doesn't farm it, he doesn't make any money. But, like he said, he's looking at property farther out away from the growth and to move his farming out that way. So I feel bad for the farmer because it's a pain and trying to get around and get your equipment up and down and harvesting and everything. It's terrible. So with that little bit of farm ground still there. And the one nice thing is it's right across from the high school and the elementary school. So that would possibly help with traffic. If people could, I don't know what the heck happened to school buses, but nobody ever rides the darn things anymore. It's like, I don't know why everybody has to take their kids to school, but in the school district, they're getting close to full, but as more people move in, they'll get approved for more taxes and be able to build more schools. So they kind of go, they don't build new schools until they're overgrown and flowing out the doors, and then they finally build new schools, they get enough tax base. So I struggle. I know there's a lot approved out there. It is what we have in the plan for the future out that way, and the farmer is struggling to farm it. I have a hard time telling the farmer that he can't do what he wants to do with his own property that fits into our future land use map. So.
I'm going to make a comment.
Any other thoughts?
You're staring at me pretty hard.
Just looking down at that.
This is the hardest, this is the most painful growth of the city, I think, is when farms start to become less feasible. And so the farmer has to think about developing it. It's their property. Like Tom just said, it's hard to say, you can't do, like, I get real nervous about telling anybody what they can and can't do with their property. We have planning guidelines for a reason. So we're already limiting them by those guidelines, and they're following them. The roads are rough out there, and I'm with Matt that I'm really worried about the highway. That's my reluctance there. It's not easy, but I'm leaning towards recommending approval just because they meet the comp plan. There is a plan to improve 2026 on a similar timeline as the construction of this property. But the concerns that have been raised, especially around traffic, are valid.
Oh, absolutely.
I just, man, I'm really leaning towards more of against this, very softly against this. I like the project. I like where it's at. I just don't necessarily like the timing. Because I'd like to see what's already been approved out in that area develop a little bit more. Throughout the city, if there's 50% of the lots that haven't been built on yet, there's 50% of tax revenue that the city's not getting yet. And so I'd like to see those also build out a little bit more and kind of see how this area right here develops once STAR gets moving, or not STAR, but once 2026. I'd like to see 2026 an elevated freeway from 84 all the way into Boise, but that's just a pipe dream. But yeah, I just.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah, no kidding. I like the project. I think it's a good place for this. I just don't think the timing is right on until things build out a little bit more there. There is a reason that Ridgeview put a high school in that location. Even when there's really no houses around, so they're expecting that growth. And that is another concern of mine also, is the school district, and give them a little bit of time and let things build up out there a little bit more. And maybe at that point, the timing might be a little bit better.
Mr. Chairman, but why haven't only one of those places even started? So how is that fair?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, how is that fair to tell the farmer that he can't have his until they're done, and we don't even know when they're gonna start? So that could be 10 years.
It's not necessarily that I'm singling out the one farmer or this one particular property. This particular
left.
applicant.
It's basically what's left in that area, right?
No, there's all kinds of room out there. And we just don't know, but what's already been approved out there is what I'd like to see kind of develop more and see what kind of, I guess maybe see how fast that growth is out there.
So everything here that says pre-app is not real yet, right?
The cherry, which one, cherry up in the.
Except for that,
The
yeah, the one that was.
right-hand side.
Cherry Grove is the only one that's.
The resting rock up there too, but. And also.
And he's completely surrounded by growth.
Mr. Chair, I would note that both Haltom Heritage and Ridgeview North They have final plats that are in and working through the approval process to start construction.
And they're doing some improvements to Franklin and Linden, so that'll help. And you got some that are pre-app meetings, but to me, this works a lot better because it's right there next to the high school and the elementary school. That cuts down on a lot of traffic, because as it starts to grow and they got to build another high school, another elementary school, the people that are driving to this one won't be driving to this one anymore once this all starts to build up around it. And two, even though the other ones, there's some other stuff that is in the pipeline, they've done pre-app meetings and stuff. They may or may not ever move forward. Some approved developments, you don't know what the developer's funding is, and so, that might be part of the problem, that some places aren't building yet. And the market, of course, is what drives it all, so.
I don't know if this is an appropriate question to ask, and I guess the only way to find out is to ask it. So, Mr. Chair. Please. Did you see the attorney sit up? He's like, okay.
Like clockwork.
Well, I'm glad I gave you the heads up.
You want to pass them a note so you can read it before it makes it out loud?
Does the applicant, I was trying to see, the applicant is it the developer, or is it the Asamonde Holdings, correct? That's who owns the property right now?
That's right.
Okay, so they're the ones, okay. See, it
I
wasn't
believe that was
it wasn't
his
that
last name,
inappropriate.
What was the question?
right? Yeah.
I wanted to know if the individual who owns the property, what I want to know is if he has already sold it to a developer, and then the developer's here to develop, and
That's him.
Yeah, I know, that's what, yeah.
Oh,
that's what the-
He's right back there in the red shirt.
Yeah, I know. I'm putting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 together. I've got it now.
I guess my question would be, if timing's wrong, when is timing right? What does that look like?
I
Are
never
we
said it
able
was
to-
wrong.
Are we able to define timing?
I said it may
I
not be
mean,
the right.
if 2026 was completely built out yesterday, would there be anybody that would be against this? And I guess that's my question is there's always going to be people in opposition, and I understand. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand. But like I said, the only way for things to improve is development. Unless we just completely stop all development and don't let anybody else come to our town. But that's not reality either, because if that were the case, we'd still only have 35,000 people like when I graduated from high school.
Yep.
So,
Your property values would be in the toilet.
yeah. So,
And there'd be some property rights issues.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's, my thought is that it's not incumbent on 2026 being completed. It's the totality of the area is kind of what I was looking at. And the things the projects that have been approved or in the pipeline or whatever stage of pulling building permits or whatever that might be, see that build out a little bit more along with 2026. So if you're asking, when is the timing right? Well, no one knows. Well, no one knows when the timing is wrong either. So these are just things that I was looking at. It's the totality of the picture there, taking into account those projects that have already been approved around that area.
I think Commissioner Copeland's question was, are we now holding this development hostage to other developers that they have no control over? Is that kind of what you're getting at? And that's what
Yeah,
I
kind
I
of,
would echo
like
that same
we
sentiment.
telling them to wait on other people that don't have a firm timeline. We can't say that they're going to be finished. We can't force them to finish their projects and say you have to be done by 2028 so that the other people can do it.
Well, if that's the case, every developer that comes in and wants to develop a piece of land, we just say yes to, because under that same
Well, no,
logic.
you just have to take each one into it. But here, we want the development out there, we want the businesses out there, because doesn't each one of these developments have to have the BC on them? Does this one have the BC on it? It does,
This
doesn't
one
it?
does, yes.
Yeah. So then we're going to get those
There's
small
another one
businesses
there.
that they were talking about and start building that up, but those aren't going to come until the houses come. So I don't know, I actually worry about the property because of the canals and kids. So for me, that's like a personal thing, like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of houses to have around all that water. But I just think that it meets all the criteria that he was supposed to meet, and it just seems unfair to tell the person who owns the property when he's having trouble farming it and making a living with it, to say, no, you have to wait until, we can't make a decision for you until we see what other people do. I guess that's just what I'm saying, for this specific piece of property, because of how many are around it. It's not just one, it's not just two. I mean, it's almost, except for on the left-hand side where I think the schools are right there. On the left-hand side, I mean, it's completely surrounded.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify there, a pre-app meeting just means that they came in to talk with the city about
Okay.
potential future development. So the ones that you see that are colored are the ones that have been approved for
Yeah, so
development.
there's like 2 or 3 right there.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
So the other ones, we don't even know, we don't know, we just know that they're thinking about it.
We have no guarantee.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Rodney, can you move over? Slide over?
So Daniel, real quick, the subdivisions on Franklin that are across the street from this,
Yes.
when those improvements are done, what will the road look like? Is there any road improvements, or is this just borrow pit sidewalk?
They will have turn lanes at the intersection, on all legs of the intersection of Franklin and Linden. So it will have left turn lanes on all legs.
And then up and down Franklin, what
So
improvements are?
Franklin is an arterial, so they do not do full widening. But in all honesty, the traffic volumes at this point, and from what the traffic studies show, don't trigger the need for a full 5-lane facility there at this point. That will come in the future as it's truly warranted.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a quick follow-up to that? I know you've probably answered this before, but when does any road improvements, if a project is approved, at what point in that do they start those, do they do the road projects first, improvements first, or after everything is built out?
So the traffic studies, when they do traffic studies, one of the requirements that we have is that they look at those project-triggered improvements and identify where within the development they are triggered. So some come at the start. There are times where they come in the middle of the project. There are times where they are triggered by the project after the full build out, and then that we require those to be done prior to that full build out before we sign off the last phase. So it really depends on what the traffic impact study identifies. Okay. It varies between improvement when those levels of service are passed and the trigger is, or the improvement is triggered.
Appreciate that. And I knew you were going to use the word depends, but we've reserved that for the attorney.
It's conditional.
But
How about that?
there you go, conditional. No, appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to recommend approval of the annexation and zoning to RS4 and RS6 and BC zoning districts at 0 North Franklin Boulevard with corresponding road and canal right-of-way and subdivision preliminary plat approval for Highline Estate subdivision for Azamundi Holdings with all conditions listed in the staff report and adopt the proposed findings of approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Morgan, seconded by Kehoe to approve this project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, it's very, very soft. Aye. Or for opposed.
Okay. Motion carries.
Chairman, if I may, just for housekeeping, for these type of votes, we'll want to do a roll call. That was a voice vote. Yep. Okay. And just for the record, so we can get the votes clear.
Turner,
Aye.
Kehoe,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Garner,
Aye.
Kirkman,
No.
Copeland,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Preston.
Is that it?
Mary, do
I make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Soft, no. No, I'm just kidding. Hey,
Meeting is adjourned.
I got a couple
Thank
of
you.
questions I wanted to ask you.